welcome to another episode of Veterans History Project here on Brockton Community Access. I'm Bob McCormick, and today we're interviewing Mr. Richmond+Castano. Hello, Rich.
Hi, Bob.
How are you?
Good, thank you.
Glad you could come.
Glad to be here.
You're a Brockton native, Rich?
Yes, born in Brockton,
Yeah. What year were you born?
1949.
49, a good year. And did you go to Brockton schools?
All the Brockton schools.
Graduated Brockton High?
Graduated from Brockton High.
Yeah. What year?
1968.
68. So Vietnam was
Shortly after.
shortly after that. So after you get out of high school, what did you do at that point?
Well, we were all being drafted at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So if you weren't in a college curriculum, you had to think fast.
Yeah.
So I tried to get into, well, I did get into a local business school here on School Street in Brockton. I was able to last maybe six to 7 months, but it wasn't for me.
I see.
But I knew I'd be drafted soon afterwards.
Yeah.
So I went to live on Martha's Vineyard,
Yeah.
and I was able to stay there for maybe 4 or 5 more months before I actually got a letter from
see.
Uncle Sam.
You were down in Martha's Vineyard at the time.
Working, living by myself.
Was it kind of a surprise when you got the letter?
It was still a surprise. It was in the back of my mind. Everyone was being drafted at the time, so
Yeah. Yeah.
it was inevitable.
So they told you to report
They told me to report.
to the Boston Army?
Actually, it was the Boston Army base, yes.
Uh-huh. So you went up there, and what happened?
Well, they gave us a physical,
Mm-hmm.
and then they also, prior to going there, I went to talk to the recruiter, an Army recruiter,
Mm-hmm.
and I was told if I enlisted for an extra year, I wouldn't have to be a foot soldier or a grunt,
Yes.
and I'd get training
Right.
for some skill or some
Mhm.
job. So I opted to go the extra year, make it a 3-year commitment, and have training.
I see. And what did you choose as your...
Well, I chose
Cool.
photography.
Uh-huh. Okay.
which
And
was
how'd that
an
work out?
A day before my actual induction, my recruiter called me up and said, "Oh, I'm sorry, that photography school is filled. We can't place you in that. You'll have to come back and pick out another school,
This is
another
one
skill."
day before
This is the day
were
before.
going in.
Sure,
And you had opted for the 3 years instead of 2.
that's right.
So you went in and
So-
chose another
So I
school?
did. I went back and I went through volumes of different job applications and things that the Army was offering recruits,
Yeah.
from bombardier to mechanic to
Mhm.
cook.
And what'd you choose?
I chose the intelligence field,
Uh-huh.
not knowing exactly what it was, but it sounded more intriguing than all of the other job descriptions.
Right, right. So what happened then? You went to basic training?
Went to basic training,
Where was that?
Fort Jackson, South Carolina.
I see, yeah.
Um,
What month would
that
that
was
have been?
intensive. It was in the summertime,
Summertime, so hot down
and
there.
it was hot.
Yeah.
Um,
So you went through 8
three,
weeks?
three recruits died during my from
Okay.
heat exhaustion
Wow.
while I was there,
Because it's hot down there and it's, they run you around.
and they run you.
Yeah.
I came out of basic training the best physically fit person I've ever been.
I can
ever
imagine.
since then.
I can imagine. So did you go, was that an 8-week
So that was an 8-week,
thing?
right?
And then what happened? Where'd you
And,
go
and,
after?
and then they sent you to your they call it training,
Mhm.
personal training. They sent me to Fort Holabird in Maryland, Baltimore,
Yep.
and I was being trained as a 96 Bravo, which
Yeah.
was Order of Battle analyst.
Uh-huh.
So I had a desk job,
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And they trained you in that.
and they trained me.
How long a school?
It was another It was another 8 weeks.
Is that right? And then after that, where did you go?
Straight to Vietnam.
Right to Vietnam. So you were only in probably 4 or 5 months before you went over to Vietnam.
Yes.
And how did you get over? I mean,
And
the
interestingly,
commercial-
yeah, it was a commercial flight,
Yeah.
and it was today, 20, well, we're going to go back 30 years ago. It was December 7th, 1969.
Geez, so this is your anniversary.
This is an anniversary for my arrival in
That's unbelievable.
Vietnam. I remember being on a commercial flight, landing in Tokyo on December 7th.
Mm-hmm.
They wouldn't let us out of the plane. We had just traveled across from Alaska.
Yeah? Why wouldn't they let you out?
I never found out why,
Ah.
but
You didn't know if it was
I thought-
anything to do with the Pearl Harbor.
you know,
So-
we all suspected that, but
Yeah.
we couldn't understand why they wouldn't let us off.
Sure. And then from Tokyo, you...
Straight to
Straight to
Saigon.
So you, when you went across the ocean, is it very far from Japan to Vietnam?
I really can't remember, but it was.
Couple
I'm pretty sure it
hours.
was one stop. There was
One
no
stop.
stops. Yeah, no, there was. I
And
think it
so
was
when you
straight.
first saw Vietnam, could you see it from the air, or did you didn't
Not
really?
really, no.
Yeah. So you landed in Saigon.
The only time you saw anything in Vietnam was if you flew helicopters,
Helicopters.
and then you get a good idea what the country looked like.
After you get to Saigon, did you then get placed in your unit?
Pretty fast. They flew me right to my assignment base.
Uh-huh.
It was a fire support base in a town called Phuc Vinh,
Uh-huh.
in Tu Quoc, it was called, sort of the middle of Vietnam.
I see. And did you start with your intelligence work right away, or?
Well, the first night was kind of scary because they put me in a tent. They issued me an M16 rifle, and they put me in a tent, a big tent, by myself.
By yourself?
I don't know.
Was this
I don't
out in
know
the
what
field?
is this a test?
Yeah.
But they put me in a tent by myself with an M16, and we had a mortar attack that night.
Oh, jeez.
So
Welcome to Vietnam.
welcome to Vietnam.
Wow. So what was that like? You just heard the mortar rounds going off from the inside the tent, or?
Pretty scary, yeah.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
I can imagine. And then what happened? Did you stay in that position there for quite a while, or was that where you operated out of?
I was with the 1st Air Cav Division, 191st Military Intelligence Detachment. Probably 15 guys where we lived and who we worked with. We each had a cubicle inside of a tin hooch
What was your job at that time?
to gather intelligence, to gather field intelligence. There were several ways that we accumulated information. And it all came from electronic data. The data would come to us through what was called a G2 section. It would all be print
Oh,
by the
print.
time we got it.
I see.
But the information was, when I say electronic data, it was, the helicopters would scan, would do grid patterns, and they would fly back and forth over different provinces.
Yeah.
And they were responsible, the electronic equipment was responsible to pick up the ammonia that emits out of a person.
Yeah? So they could
Yeah,
see that.
it could pick up the ammonia content in the air,
Wow.
which would designate either people or monkeys.
Is that right? Wow.
So
So-
we destroyed a few monkeys.
Is that right? Just,
Oh, well, there's more data. That was an ammonia factor. That would be a blue flag that I would put on my map.
which would
With
indicate
that
you were getting an
coordinate.
ammonia.
Readout from the specific coordinate.
Yeah.
And then there would be infrared, which would be fire or a cigarette burning.
Yeah.
And if there were several cases of this infrared reading, those would be red pins that would go into the coordinates on the map. If we felt that we knew that there was a VC unit operating in that area, we would give the Air Force the coordinates, and they would, if was deemed necessary by the upper echelon, they would do an airstrike.
I see. So that would be up to them to...
That would be up to them.
They take that, they may say, well, there's not that much activity, they may not do anything.
Right,
And again, they may bomb it.
right.
Would you ever find out if they,
Not,
what
not,
they did?
not very often. They would go in with a bomb evaluation report team and see what happened.
Mhm.
And I wasn't always privy to all that information.
What they did. So most of your work then was just inside, or did you get outside in the field to...
I was able to go out sometimes,
Mhm.
maybe 2 or 3 times on a monthly basis, to go to other fire support bases and exchange information.
Ah,
Who's operating in this area, trying to get names of people that may still be running the Viet Cong units.
you mean you'd go
Last
into
time.
a village or something?
Oh, no, just talking to other people in the same position that I was.
I see.
In different fire support bases.
Yeah. Did you, so you did some helicopter work too, didn't you? Did you,
No, that was it, just
Just the
traveling from...
transporting
Right.
back and forth from different positions?
I was able to interview a couple of Viet Cong
Mhm.
and ask them questions as to, where they came from, where they were born, how they get down here, what kind of weapons they had.
Yeah. Would they usually be cooperative?
Very cooperative, especially if we were offering them, a 50-pound bag of rice.
Is that right? Well, were these people prisoners at the time?
Yes,
So they were prisoners that were brought in,
right.
and then you'd
But it was
interrogate them.
kind of a release program. We'd throw flyers out, say, if you turn yourself in, we'll give us the information, we'll let you go again.
Yeah, and plus they'd get a reward,
And then they
such
get a
as
reward,
rice
right.
or whatever.
Yeah.
So would you have an interpreter, or did you
Right.
speak the language? or-
No,
No?
I had an interpreter.
So they didn't send you to language school back
No,
here?
No.
No. Did you learn anything interesting from these Viet Cong prisoners? And what was their attitude? Did they seem hostile or anything?
Not at all.
No?
I never met a hostile Vietnamese.
Is that right? Yeah? Even the enemy, the Viet Cong,
No,
seemed to be...
no, they were very pleasant people.
Yeah. So if someone like that, wouldn't their own outfit find out that they had given you information, or
Right, I
if-
don't know, they wouldn't go back.
they wouldn't go
They-
back?
No.
So would they remain prisoners of war? or-
I don't know. I really don't know what happened
So you didn't know if
to
they went
these
back to the-
people, right.
Yeah. It would occur to me that they probably wouldn't go back to their own outfit if it looked like they might have given information.
Exactly.
Yeah. Did the Viet Cong ever attack the hooches there? Or?
We had mortar strikes, rocket attacks, probably monthly, 2 or 3 times a month,
Oh, yeah.
the whole time I was there.
Mm-hmm.
No, sappers never penetrated our perimeter,
Mm-hmm.
but the rockets got in.
Yeah.
And I think I told you a story about how when you first arrive in Vietnam, when the rockets start coming in,
Right.
they're not really aiming for the soldiers, they're aiming for the equipment. They're trying to destroy the helicopters.
I see.
So the rockets pretty much land on the airfield,
Yeah.
not on our where we're living.
I see. Yep.
Once in a while, one might miss and come short and
Yeah.
land on
Mm-hmm.
soldiers. But when you're first there and you start hearing these rockets coming in, you bolt. You run like hell to the bunker that's at the end of the corridor,
Right.
at the end of the hooch, at the end of the hut.
Uh-huh.
And you just dive bomb right into the sandbag bunker
Yeah.
to protect yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So all the new guys run like hell as soon as you hear the incoming.
Yeah,
And we were bumping into each other and stepping on our toes and knocking ourselves in the eyes and having a hell of a time
getting in there.
getting into the bunker.
Mm-hmm.
Come towards the middle of the year, you get accustomed to the sound of the rockets coming over your head.
Yeah.
And you know that they're not coming near you, they're going to land out in the field. So
Right.
you stop running.
Yeah.
You stay in bed.
Oh, you stay right in
You
bed?
stay in bed. You don't
Wow.
bother running to the
Yeah.
end of the... But come towards the end of your tour,
Mm-hmm.
your last month there,
Yeah.
you start running again.
Is that right? Now, what would be the reason for that? I can guess.
Interesting, huh?
I can guess what the reason is. Probably you want to survive to get home, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. So you're getting close to that
They're
time.
getting
of
close
home.
to taking the Freedom Bird home.
Yeah. Now, you probably live for that day that you get the heck out of there, right?
Yeah.
Or did you more or less enjoy your work in some respects? Or at least it was a straight 8-hour day.
No, I didn't find anything enjoyable about it.
No?
No, it was hard and
Hot.
tedious, and some of the captains that we had, some of the commanding officers that we had didn't make life much easier.
Mm-hmm. In what respect would that have been?
Well, I don't know why, but a couple of them didn't ease up at all with our conditions. We had to spit polish our shoes every day.
Jeez.
We had to make sure our uniforms were pressed.
Uh-huh.
Maybe because we were, office personnel, but it was tough being, not giving us any slack.
It's almost like you were in the barracks back here in the States, and you
Well-
had to be spit shined and everything.
Right, and we weren't in that situation, so.
Right.
I recall one commanding officer getting fragged by members of our unit.
Fragged is what?
A concussion grenade lobbed in his, while he was taking a shower.
Is that right? And so, was he hurt or?
Yeah, he was hurt. He wasn't killed, but he was shaken up a bit.
Yeah, wow. Did he get the message?
Yes.
Yeah. So he eased up a little bit.
Well, they kind of removed him.
Well, he had to
The-
muster
the-
out
The
after
next
that.
guy wasn't so hard-assed.
Yeah. Well, the next guy probably got the message from the previous guy. That wasn't too subtle a message.
No, but
But you have to do
it
it,
happened
I
more
suppose.
frequently than not.
Yeah.
Talking to other veterans after the war.
Seems amazing that they'd be concerned with spit shine and button down in that kind of a circumstance where you're pretty much out in the field.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so,
No, that was no. I didn't enjoy it at all.
No?
Can't
So
say
there
that.
were
it
did
was-
you make some friends of the other guy? You must get pretty close with
It's
those
funny.
guys.
We came very, very close with a bunch of guys. Ron Conti and Dave Briston. I remember these guys very well, but I never stayed in touch with them.
Is that right?
Yeah,
So
we were the
afterwards-
best of buddies, the whole year there. But
Right.
it's funny you don't. I guess some guys do, but I don't know. We never
Yeah.
stayed in touch.
Yeah. It's funny how close you get with somebody that's in the same position you're in, the same predicament, you might
Oh,
say.
sure, yeah.
You
yeah.
all have a common
Oh,
problems.
real camaraderie.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a wonderful. I enjoyed that part
Yeah.
of being
You
in the
probably
service.
never
And I never experienced
like
it since
that.
then. Yeah.
before or since.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. So, did you stay in this one position the whole year?
Stayed in that one position the whole year.
Yeah.
Um,
And then, what happened when you were mustering back? Were you getting close to the time, and you knew when you'd be getting out of there?
Absolutely right.
Do you know the date?
Gee, I I should remember it, but
It was pretty much a year
it was
from
just a
when you
year
get
from
there.
when we got there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, they ask you if you want to re-up, and they offered you. I think at the time they were offering us $10,000 to $15,000.
Mhm.
I think later on, it got up to $20,000 and
Is that so?
$30,000.
Did they want you to re-up for a couple of years or 3 years?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But
And
there was no...
actually, just one more year.
Oh, one more year?
They were interested in having it, remain
stay over
for,
there?
for another year.
I see. So was there any possibility that you were going to do that? Or?
Well, I had a good friend do it. He re-upped, and I think the highest paid re-up was to become a door gunner on a helicopter.
Oh, yeah?
And he opted for that, I recall. I
Did
don't
he?
know if he ever got out of Vietnam.
Yeah. So you didn't hear
No,
how
I
he
never
made
heard
out
after that,
afterwards? But he was in the same job you were in?
Yes. Yeah.
And then he became a door gunner?
Yes, he did.
Boy, he went from quite a
Yes.
different situation, huh? So did you have any thoughts about
No,
re-enlisting?
not at all.
No?
No.
Time came?
No, I began to question the war, especially after all of the protests.
Yeah.
They let us know what was going on in the States.
Mhm.
They didn't keep anything from us.
Yeah.
And at first I was hurt by all of the protesting.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I thought, gee, this isn't making things good for us. I mean,
Right.
This isn't helping our situation.
Yeah.
And so I didn't side with the protesters at all.
Yeah.
I felt that we were there for a just cause, preventing communism
Sure. Right on.
spread throughout the world.
Right.
And to this date, I'm still not clear on why we went to Vietnam,
Yeah. Or if it was a
or
good
if
thing.
it was worth
Worthwhile.
the effort.
Yeah. Did you run into, how did you get back to the States? Was it a commercial flight?
A commercial flight back to the States.
Did you
yes.
go with other people, or
No, I think I was alone.
So you went
for
from-
most of the way.
the field in Vietnam? Did they truck you to a certain airport?
Right back to Ton Son
Consonant?
in Saigon.
Uh-huh. Then you got on a plane the same day? Or?
Oh no, I took a little vacation
Right in Saigon?
right in Saigon. We weren't allowed to go into Saigon,
Mm-hmm.
but I hired a taxi cab, and he put me in the trunk.
No kidding.
And
Wow,
I
that's an
went through the
adventure
gate.
right there.
Pretty stupid,
Yeah?
but
You mean dangerous?
very dangerous.
Yeah?
But
You go-
I had a good time in Saigon.
Now, what year would that have been?
69.
69. So the war was in full.
Right. I had just missed the Tet Offensive of 1968. That's when a lot of the fire support bases like I was on did get overwhelmed and overrun. No, I'm glad I missed that.
Yeah.
And
So you get dropped off in Vietnam, in Saigon by the taxi. Then did you make the rounds of the...
I made the rounds in Saigon.
By yourself?
By myself.
And no problem?
No problem, no.
Nobody gave you any problem
Not
or
at all,
anything?
no.
I always thought that maybe the Viet Cong or these North Vietnamese would have people in Saigon just to give people a hard time from the United States, but I guess not, huh? Never saw anything like that?
No.
Yeah?
No.
So then, obviously you had a night or two before your flight was leaving
I did.
Saigon then.
Right, right.
And where'd you go from Saigon?
I had an option. You fill out a dream list where you'd like to go after you leave Vietnam.
And you had another year to do in the
I
service.
had still had
Oh,
another year.
you're in it, yeah.
Right. So I asked for Hawaii and Australia and Taiwan.
Mm-hmm.
Those were the three R&R spots
Oh, yeah.
that we could go to while we were in Vietnam.
Yeah,
I was able to get to Taiwan.
Taiwan. This is after your tour in
After my
Vietnam.
tour of Vietnam, they
So-
sent me to Taiwan for a year.
Oh, for a whole year there.
And,
Wow.
I worked again in intelligence, 7th PSYOPs, 7th Psychological Operations Detachment in Taipei.
That had to have to do with the Vietnam War also?
Not really. They were primarily concerned with They were primarily concerned with mainland China invading Taiwan.
Oh. So that's what the intelligence was?
That's what the intelligence was. And the bulk of it was monitoring the leaflets that each side would shell. There were these two islands in the middle, in the Straits of Taiwan.
Yeah.
If I can remember them, Matsu and...
Was it Pichu or Piku or something like that? Yeah.
They weren't inhabited, or partially inhabited. And,
I see.
and I guess they were being contested who owned them.
Mm-hmm.
And on even days, the Chinese would bomb with leaflet shells, propaganda shells.
Yeah.
They would explode on the island, and
A bunch of leaflets.
leaflets, propaganda leaflets. And
Right.
our job was to decipher what these leaflets were saying
I see.
and just record them.
And on the other days, would they use live shells?
Oh, no, they would just exchange. One day the mainland Chinese would bomb the island, and then on even days the nationalists, the Chinese from Taiwan, would bomb the island.
Back, same thing,
Same
leaflets?
thing, leaflets, right.
Boy, that was
That
amazing.
was their war.
So,
It was great in
Yeah.
Taiwan. I really didn't spend much time working. The first 6 months I was there, I signed up for a Sino-American dragon dance team.
dragon dancing is Asian,
Yeah,
Chinese?
Absolutely, Chinese.
Yeah. And so how'd you learn that?
The Chinese team taught us.
Oh, is that right?
It was the American way of
Making friends.
making friends.
When did you get out of Taiwan?
I was medevaced out of Taiwan. I was in a motorcycle accident on my way back from work, and I was hit by a bus. I was in the hospital with full-length casts for about 6-7 months.
Wow. So they flew you back here with the cast on and
Yeah.
everything?
Yeah.
And then you finished up there, and then you got your discharge up there?
Yeah.
So after you get out of the service, what'd you do then, Rich?
Went to school.
What school?
I went to Cape Cod Community College.
Okay, yeah,
Got a 2-year degree.
good. Did you work at what you got your degree in, or
No, it was just an associate's degree.
associates? And then what'd you do for a living after that?
Well, my father retired from his business and needed to take care of my mother. She was dying of cancer.
Oh,
And he retired, and I sort of took over the family business.
I see.
And I'm still doing that today.
Oh, you are.
We have a leather business in Brockton.
Was it uncomfortable for you to get back to civilian life, or was it quite a transition, or what?
I recall not really wanting to wear my uniform in public.
Yeah? And the reason for that was what?
That's how unpopular the war was when I came back.
Right on. You could see that kind of hostility?
Well, nobody was really ever hostile to me,
Yeah.
per se, but I was uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I certainly didn't get a warm greeting coming
Right.
home. Never
Yeah.
got that welcome home
Right.
that World War II veterans
Yeah.
received.
People that were for the war, people were against it, and feelings ran very high on both sides. So,
Right.
and the veteran seemed to be kind of the
in the
person
middle.
in the middle.
Right.
I appreciate you coming in. We've been interviewing Mr. Richmond+Castano from Brockton. This has been another episode of Veterans History Project. Thank you very much for watching. I'm Bob McCormick, and I'll see you next time.